Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's Tuesday topic. Today's topic is finding our lanes in DEI, using art as a starting place for action with Michelle Radigan and Dr. Veronica Carey. We are live here in room 1043. Very exciting to see real people in real spaces. Exciting. Michelle, take it away.
Okay. Well, we're just really excited to be here. And, the etiology of this is that Dr. Carey, our Assistant Dean of the Board of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion, the leader of the Board of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion, Assistant Dean of DEI and CNHP, let me get this straight, is secretly artistic and creative, or maybe not so secretly now. Not so secretly now. And found this video of this beautiful painter who was able to capture in a very simple way the beauty of diversity using color and form in a way that could capture that essence with someone who doesn't need to be skilled to be an artist. And very excitedly shared this video with me and said, how can we bring this to the masses of CNHP?
Exactly.
And I said, we'll do it. And we had a play date, if I'm allowed to call it that, where we played around with different forms of paint. Dr. Carey learned that we don't use oil paint to do this because it takes forever to dry. That's okay. We all have learning edges. So we're going to be doing this with you today in person. And we know that for those of you at home, you may not have these tools, but we hope that what we do today, if you're observing us, that you are inspired to try this, or you're inspired to engage in your own creativity, to start to have courageous conversations around race, around diversity, around equality, around equity. These are really important conversations to have. And sometimes we just don't know how to get started. And oftentimes we don't think about how art can be a place to start. Art is a place of action. If you've ever gone to a protest, what do we typically see when we go to protests? What are those things called? Posters, signs, banners. What are on those things? Words, images, colors, symbols, right? And so these are things to educate. These are things to give a voice when people don't have a voice. These are things to make a statement. So while we're not using words today, we are going to make a statement about coming together by using various colors in this simple exercise. But something else may happen, whether or not you consider yourself an artist or not. You may have a visceral reaction when you're blending these colors. You may have a reaction in just noticing something and being able to connect it to relationships, whether that was a positive experience that you've had, or an experience where you've caused harm, or an experience where someone has caused you harm. And this is a place where we can start to have those conversations together. This is a non-judgment zone, but this is a challenge zone.
So we have one question in terms of leading it. So before we respond to Joy's question, so thank you, Joy, for the question. We'll make sure we respond to that. Is that you don't have to be perfect in this exercise. So you'll see when Michelle demonstrates, you're literally going to be dropping paint onto the board before your canvas, rather, before you determine how the best way to sort of bring it from the top to the bottom. And then once you've done that, then you're going to have a result, if you will. Then you can enhance that result. You can do it again and do a second layer. It's up to you. You could do a lower layer. We'll look at some of the examples that Michelle and I did the day that we tried it. But then after that, like Michelle mentioned, you want to kind of look back and say, what does this mean to me from a DEI lens? How can I explain this to someone else? What does this illustrate for me? And I think that we came up with some pretty dynamic and pretty interesting feedback from our own work. We didn't plan to make it come out like that. It came out like that, and then we saw it in the material. We saw it in the actual painting. So we just invite you to be just that sort of loose and engaged and fun. It's definitely going to be fun because if anyone's worked with paint before, it's always fun. So I hope no one's gonna be too like staid and anxious about it, you know, and Joy mentioned, what are the materials? I believe we had put some of the materials up when we were having people register, but we're gonna be starting with.
Yep. So the things, if you can't do it today, and this is something you wanted to try another time, we have canvas board. It's just flat canvas board. You can also use a piece of masonite or a piece of cardboard if you don't have canvas board. The other thing that we're going to be using is acrylic craft paint. This is something that can be purchased online. You can find it at a craft store like Michael's. You can find it at Walmart. It's something that is water-based, and it's something that pours out. It's great to have one with a flip top that you can just like pour out. This is called, this is made by Apple Barrel. I do know that Walmart sells these, and I think this came from Amazon. The other thing that we're going to be using is an acrylic squeegee, but you can also use a scraper like a metal or a plastic ruler. It doesn't have to be a squeegee. So these are very simple materials. The other thing I would suggest is to use an old towel or a rag or paper towels, because when you use the squeegee, this will be filled with paint and you just want to have something to wipe it on. So again, a flat surface that you can put paint on, like a piece of canvas, cardboard, piece of wood, piece of masonite, acrylic craft paint, and a squeegee, or something that you can scrape with, like a ruler, metal or plastic ruler. And that's all you need.
And we recommend many colors, so you can see that there's a variety of colors, and there might even be some over there as well. So individuals can pick the colors they want for their canvas. We're not going to be prescriptive about that. You go over and whatever moves you today, pick up the color that moves you or invites you today, as many as you want, or as few as you might want. Can we just show maybe one of my examples and one of yours?
Yeah, sure.
So let me grab them.
Yeah, grab one of each.
Okay.
Although I don't remember which one's mine, which one's yours.
Well, I remember yours as it definitely isn't mine. I remember yours as it isn't mine.
Okay.
So, like for example, maybe you can see here when Michelle and I first tried it. So we dropped paint at the very top of the board. Then I went and did a second layer and dropped paint a little bit below the first row of paint. So therefore, when I took the squeegee and went down one side and cleaned it off, took the squeegee and went down the other side, I have what looks like two, for me anyway, it looks like mothers at the top and children at the bottom. That's what I see. I see a very long-haired girl right here. I see one girl who's maybe wearing, I don't know, sort of a garb over here, looking upwards at her mother. I see another daughter kind of like walking away, but I see the variety, the eclectic nature of this group of women that's raising their daughters. And I think I look at them as daughters in terms of, I don't really see any males in this picture today, but when I look at this, so this is what I saw when I finished my actual presentation, dragging down of my colors.
So I do remember this one now.
Yeah.
When I was doing this one, what really stuck out to me, and I remember saying this to you, Dr. Carey, the first thing that came to my head was the invisibility of whiteness.
Yes.
Because you can't see it, but there is a white silhouette right here on this canvas. And what was so profound for me in coming out of that was how that is something that is very true that I've experienced as a member of the white race, of how being a white person is often invisible because it's quote unquote normal or neutral, right? And it's not something I ever have to think about when I wake up in the morning as being a white person. And so that invisibility of putting white paint on white canvas was something that really resonated. And so when we planned for today, we purposely also got black canvas,
Right.
because we did not want to say, why are we just saying that white canvas is the only kind of canvas we're going to offer?
That's right.
So that's another thing you want to think about too, is that when you're utilizing a canvas or a base for this process, is to be really intentional about what is your base, right? And it could be connected to your culture, your ethnicity, your identity. Any of those intersections you can utilize as your base.
Exactly. And then why don't you share what happened with your swirl? I thought that was very interesting.
So I was actually, this wasn't the correct kind of paint. We were using acrylics and it was kind of old. It's okay. It's not your fault. Oh my goodness. Don't carry the weight of the world today, Dr. Carey. I just was playing around with, you can't see it here, but I was also like just playing around with different techniques. I was doing a little bit of splattering. I was taking a brush and just kind of like playing around with some swirls. And what I found really interesting with this was that it kind of reminded me of like energy, and it reminded me of synergy and connections, you know, that despite all of the difference and the diversity, just the energy of the connecting of the people and the communication was really very important to me in this.
So you can see how the story evolves once your picture kind of, whenever you think it's finished. It may not be final, but maybe you're just finished for today, right? So maybe it's starting to dry, and then you go and get the brushes from on the side and you start swirling some of the colors together. Or maybe it's starting to dry and you start to spatter some of the colors that you have opportunity, maybe you didn't use that you dragged down. So I don't think it's ever really done, but you can see how much language is coming out of these two examples. All right, so, and actually what we'd like to also see done is that, pass this one around as well. What we also like to see done is that once we are finished doing what we think is our final or finished for today, to start writing about what's coming to mind. It may not be prose, you don't have to write a poem per se, but maybe jot down some things that are coming to you as you're watching your canvas come to life, if you will. And then we want to share some of those. So if you're home and you don't have these resources, maybe you start drawing while everyone else is painting and doing this exercise. Maybe you grab some markers and start drawing across paper. And then you share what comes to your mind when you're finished drawing across your paper. And we'll go online and have some of our online viewers share what came to their mind today. Or maybe we share someone else's canvas today and something popped in your mind from what you see, and then something you want to share online or even within participants that are here. Okay, does that sound about right?
That sounds great. So let me tell you what's going to happen next. I'm going to just do a really quick demo. It's not going to take very long. And then after that, we're going to ask the people who are here live with us, alive and live, to help themselves to a canvas and to drip the paint that you would like to use, bring it back and do the squeegees here at your table. When the people who are here are doing that process, you can't see this person. Can you come on camera for just a second, Flossie?
Oh, yes.
We are just so lucky to have Flossie Erardi here with us, who is a music therapist, former director of music therapy here at Drexel CNHP. Remember this? Board member of the Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion. And we're just so excited that Flossie is here. When people are creating in this process, after I do a quick demo, Flossie is a very famous percussionist, and will be performing for us to create an ambiance also of bringing us together in this collaborative experience. So we have microphones throughout this room, and hopefully you at home will be able to enjoy that as well in this reflective process. Okay.
Do we have any questions online? Do we have any questions in the room until we show the demonstration? Are any of you online going to be able to engage in some way? Maybe magic markers or paint or Victoria?
Oh, I'm just going to look around my studio and see what I can find to jump in.
Excellent, excellent, excellent. So whatever you have, look at magic markers, it could be anything. Katie, good, going to try, outstanding. All right, well, you know what? Those examples that Michelle and I just showed was our attempt to try. So we tried it, and that's what we came back with, and we love ours. We love our examples.
There's no right or wrong, so you can't mess up. And honestly, if you do quote unquote mess up, see it as an opportunity to take you in an interesting and innovative direction that someone didn't think about before. That's also the beauty of diversity, right? It's something that someone hasn't thought about before.
Exactly.
So basically what you're going to do is you're just going to take your colors and just very randomly.
See that? Am I covering you up? No. You see that she's dropping paint a little height from the canvas, and you can see how it turns into dollops on the canvas. You can stagger them, you can make them in one line, you can, incorporate them in between. That's up to you.
I'm not even really thinking about it. I just know I want to get a lot of colors on here.
You can even vary the size of your dots. That may be an opportunity as well. Now she's showing some lines. So when you sort of figure, okay, this might be the top of my canvas, maybe it's somewhere in the middle, I want to do some lines, etc. You have a lot of opportunities for colors. We bought, there's probably about, I don't know, 18, 20 different colors here today. So that kind of gives you an idea of the variety.
I have no idea what this is going to turn into. It's going to be a complete surprise. It'll be a big mess, but it'll be a complete surprise. Yeah, and we can put those over on the other table. I'm a little scared. There's an audience to this. Usually I'm by myself in a studio.
You take the squeegee and just drag it down. Oh,
Is that a good O?
that's a good O. A very good O. And we gave you some paper underneath for the kind of like, so Darren won't yell at us for ruining the tables. We have some placemat paper underneath, so try to hit the placemat if you can. All right.
Oh, wow.
Wow. Flossie already gave it a no wow. You see that?
That's really pretty.
Yeah. See that? And we didn't know what was going to come of that when she dropped those colors on there. Can you see that? Cool.
Oh, wow. Okay. All right. Do you see how those lines now look like arms?
Yeah.
Yes.
I did not play.
Yeah.
Can I hug you?
Yes. Yes.
That's what it looks like.
Wow.
It looks like hands at the top. Also.
Exactly. It's kind of, yeah, I think, I'm sorry, what is your first name? Tanisha. Tanisha had mentioned about, looks like heads at the top of the paper and the top of the canvas. That sort of is the goal from the video that I had seen, that the woman had dropped the dollops and sort of like the heads of people. And then the rest of it, she put a line every so often, like Michelle just did, or maybe did a bigger, broader banner type thing. And then when she dragged it down, it sort of looked like people, you know. So maybe if you can see, it's the best way to, you can see the head sort of at the top and like the lines that she mentioned that look like arms. I think it's good vision.
Yeah.
Oh, I think it's moved in. Oh, who's moving this in? Thank you. All right, that's a great shot. That's a great shot. Thank you. So you can kind of see the heads across the top, if you will, and then the rest of the canvas being dragged down. So that's amazing. Yeah. I can't pass it around, everybody. It's still wet.
Still wet.
But so that's what that could potentially be what you're going for.
That's awesome.
All right. So why don't we have maybe one or two people, at the most, go up at the same time. Pick the size canvas you want, white a little bit larger, black a little bit smaller, and then pick the paints. Don't, just dial up while you're up here so we can all share the paints, and then come back to your seat and decide how you want to squeegee it. Maybe you want to squeegee it in thirds, maybe you want to do it in halves, maybe you want to clean it off while you're doing it. That's up to you.
Okay.
All right, so.
Yep. And while you're doing that, Flossie's gonna start playing.
Yes.
Okay.
And Michelle,
And
perhaps.
for those of you that are online, start thinking about what you might want to do. Whether it be magic markers or pen, or
And join in with me.
you're tracing bottle caps to make circles, you do whatever you want to do. All right, so Patrice and Roberta, you want to go up first? Pick your
Anyone who
canvas.
wants to join in with Flossie at home with the drumming in any kind of movement or found objects and sounds, you're more than welcome.
All right, so we're trying not to give away what some of the ideas that are already coming to mind. But one person chose black, smaller canvas, and this was her result. Thank you.
I hate to ruin it now that it's dead.
One of the things you
Is that
can
not
do is let it
amazing?
dry.
And she was about to tell me exactly what she sees in this. And I said, hold on. So Amazing.
I'm gonna
That's
start
your
hanging
man.
this up. I'm gonna do this for you. That's fine.
All right, here's another example. Outcome. I'm thinking about what does it mean to them. Well, just to drop paint on canvas, hi enough. Just to drop paint on canvas and then have this be an outcome is amazing.
Kevin looks like it has energy.
Energy,
Spots of energy throughout the people.
lots of energy throughout the people. Absolutely. Just so you can see the example. Isn't it amazing?
Unbelievable.
Wow. That's nice. Oh my gosh. Is anyone else online ready to show anything yet?
I started to do it, I'm like, no, I can't. Yeah, you can.
So now, are you trying? Are you doing one too? Yes. Oh, look, Joy.
Look at that.
Look, Michelle. Oh, yes. Yes. Nice. What did you use, Joy? Was it markers? You're on mute.
I didn't have any markers or acrylics. I had watercolor that I haven't used in a long time, so it was very dry. And
Okay.
a broken brush. So I just did this.
Nice. Nice. All right. Outstanding.
Getting started.
Yes, getting started. Absolutely. Good. Anybody else want to show us theirs online?
I have one.
Who is-
I don't know if you see. Yeah, I have these like dot markers.
Oh, look at those points. Oh my gosh, it's like
nice.
falling. Oh my gosh. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's a great use of the materials for that, like great
Yes.
resourcing.
Like I see it going up and I see it coming down.
Yeah, it kind of makes me think of not related to DE and I, like ice cream with sprinkles on it. But I can see I have some DE and I things that I thought of while I'm doing it too. I don't know if you want me to wait.
Yes, hold 1 second.
Okay.
Yes, hold that thought. Make sure you jot them down so don't forget them. Excellent. Anybody else want to share theirs online? Victoria.
I don't know, can you see that? Oh, wait.
Oh, yes, yes, we can see.
It's the back
Wow.
of the back of a notepad that my daughter had drawn something. It's so funny, but it's all about, she wrote it all about outside characteristics, probably like 6 years ago.
Oh my
Different
gosh.
qualities people can have. And I'm like, oh, it's good because it's a neutral color, but I found some paint
Wow.
and I'm scraping through it now. This is a great technique. Thank you so much.
Yeah, look at those outside characteristics. That's awesome.
Yeah.
And
Good
what's
to-
nice about that too, it's a good example of how cardboard, which we recycle and throw out all the time, is such a fantastic base for collaging and painting that people never think of.
Yeah,
And so,
Okay.
and this technique works really well with it. Thank
It
you for
does.
sharing that.
As you're creating, be thinking about this relationship to DEIs, and we'll get back to you about that. Anyone else want to share yet online? Okay. Oh, Zanab, I see you moving your lips.
I had this coloring book that my boss gave me a while ago. I never actually had the time to actually do anything with it.
Uh-huh.
So then I'm like, okay, let me just, so I'm using that to like, just like color like different, so this is like a
Oh, nice. So you're filling in.
yeah, and it feels good. So, I mean, thank you. I'm glad I was able to join today.
It's like an expression. It's like a release.
Yeah, because on
Outstanding.
my own, I never have time to do that on my own. So it's really nice to do it.
All right, great. Okay. Anybody else that I missed that wants to share their online?
I can,
Katie.
it kind of bled a little, but
Let me see. Well, hold on. We're going to put you on a split screen. Oh, wow. Wow. I see. Oh my gosh. I saw the people over here, I don't want to point what I see, but I'll share later. But that's amazing. What is your, what is that? What kind of paint?
Yesterday.
It was acrylic paint, but they started to bleed a little bit.
Okay, nice, very nice. Okay, very nice, very cool. We have a couple more examples over here. Oh, wow, that looks nice, Roberta. Oh, you're gonna do it, oh, okay, Patrice. All right, okay, she's feeling herself. Okay. Let's see what else is down here.
I like it like this.
Oh, nice. Can I show this one? Yeah. Nice, nice, nice. No, no, no. Oh, there's another example of someone in the room.
Very nice.
A lot of different heights, variation on the circles. So this was really another unique expression. So be very eager to hear what people see, because I see things that other people might, see differently. But this is so much conversation. Very good.
Can I make a comment?
Yes. Yes.
I was thinking, everybody, because I didn't have the right resources, everybody that had the right resources is doing sort of this linear top-down thing. I was thinking mine is more like looking at it from above and looking down.
Oh.
The tops of the heads or the
Yes.
images.
And that's interesting, Joy, because you're also away from us right now. So there's that distance. And we're looking up at you. So you looking at us is actually you looking down at us right now. So in some ways, there's a little bit of truth in that reflective experience.
And Joy, I'll share with you, one person who is about to drop more paint for a second layer is also doing it from a different direction, like you mentioned, going across.
Mhm.
So let me see if we can get that a little bit closer for you.
I'm all into 3-dimension.
Yeah.
Multiple perspectives.
So you see that she drew hers across two different top down and then side to side. And now is going to be bringing on some more layers of paint. I don't want to keep tilting it on the paint's gonna run.
Very
But
cool.
another example.
It does ring true though, Joy, the idea of there's not one way to look at things, right? It's multiple perspectives, and that's just really beautiful. Thank you for sharing that.
Okay, so we have the next 10 or 12 minutes and making sure we're honoring everybody's time. I know this time of the day, it's important that we honor everybody's time. So we could maybe have someone who wants to hold up their canvas. You might have to come up front, hold up your canvas so that others can see. And then if you want to just kind of share, what impressions come to mind, or what you were thinking about, nothing's wrong. It's just a matter of what you see and how it relates, quite possibly, to diversity, equity, and inclusion. So if anybody wants to be online first or in person first, I'm going to kind of pull away to the side, and that way the person can come right up here and use the computer, use the camera like we did. Thank you. Anybody want to go first, either online or in person?
I will go first.
All right, Kristen, come on down. Woo! All right.
I even
And maybe you can introduce yourself.
Oh, you mean? Hi, everyone online and in the room. I'm Kristen Noreen. I used to be with the Creative Arts Therapy and Counseling and Family Therapy departments, but I am now with the registrar. But I snuck over here early because I am a contributing member of the Board of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion still. So
Hold up a little bit higher. There we go.
There we go.
There we go.
Forget I'm short. So this is what I made, but what I'm actually struck by was when I was not so much a little bit of what I see, but what I was experiencing when I made it is that at first it feels very equitable. You drop the dollops on the canvas and then you scrape them down. But what I noticed is that even if I wiped off my scraper, I get this residue and then I get it again. And it makes me think a lot about systems and So you scrape this once, you scrape it again, and I scrape it a third time. And the experience of the last third of the canvas and the paint is very different from this first one. And thinking about it in terms of systems, it's, well, we can upgrade the canvas, but that's not going to change the fact that there's still residue with the tools that are being used. And while I might be doing the same thing to all of the dollops, every experience is different. And so what we think is an equitable beginning doesn't end that way because of the process.
Woo! Right? Woo! It's like a dry eye. Lord have mercy. All right, let's do some fairness. Anybody online? I know, right? So deep. I know. Who wants to go online first?
That's a hard one to follow. But,
I know.
so this is mine, which it does kind of look like a hot mess. But what I found was I didn't have a squeegee. I had just a paintbrush I was using. And what I found was as I went up instead of down, which I don't know if that means anything, but to me, I try to always go up instead of down. And I found that the colors were mixing. And I think that that's important because even if someone tries to stay in one lane, your lanes are going to mix. But what I thought was interesting, and it could have just been by chance, but I love the color blue. So I kind of was dabbing around with the blue. And blue means trust and peace, if you're like into colors. And I liked that with my painting, that was kind of on either side was trust and peace, because I think when it comes to DEI, you need that to kind of like surround all the, maybe chaotic in the middle, but if we can focus on trust and peace, hopefully we can get rid of some of the chaos.
It might be me because I just got back from Africa. It might be me, but when I see this picture on where your hand is, I see the head of a man like a Swahili tribesman. You see that?
Yep.
Yeah, like I see a Swahili tribe. There's his head at the top. There's his, yes, I mean, he's a tall man, and I see his feet at the bottom. That's what I see. So that's amazing. All
I
right,
love it.
thank
I
you.
see that too now.
Yeah, very nice. Okay, now in the room, we'll kind of keep flip-flopping. Who's next? In the essence of time, someone has to go, unless you don't want to go. All right, come on, Connie, because I remember what you said, so I want everybody to hear that.
Well, I don't know which one that. So I did two because I often have difficulty choosing, and because I like them all and I like all the colors. This one.
Gotta go to the middle
Camera
so you
here,
can
the
aim
camera
it
can
down.
pick it up.
Oh, I see. Okay. So yeah, that's the white one. And then I with the black one, but and I was like, okay, well, let's go sideways and get kind of a different image. And then I started using the scraper to create like a frame, the effect, almost as if someone's looking out the window to see this. But really what I just discovered is like the colors of the scraper were so pretty. There were so many and they're all mixed together, and the more colors you add, the better it comes out. So this is my kind of thing.
Can I add to that? Because I'm
Excellent.
hearing something that you're not saying, but I'm
Okay.
feeling it, is that you're not throwing away the things that get discarded. Like the things that we throw away, like the things that like, these things are like, I'm just gonna just say that these are like useless, they just get
No, but
tossed
they're
aside.
beautiful.
You're finding usefulness and purpose, and so everything has a purpose, and you're finding a purpose, and I think that's really beautiful.
Nice, very nice. All right. Okay, who online? Thank you, Connie. Who online wants to go next?
I can go next
Okay.
with my dots and lines. So,
Oh, yeah.
you said when you were like instructing us, like to just
Oh,
like
wow.
kind of do it, don't think too hard. So, I didn't really try to line up the like which line went with which dot, like this one just, and sometimes I did just because I like it. Like, ooh, I want the orange to go with the orange, whatever. But then I realized like that's kind of like, the image or identity that may come across to the world or that we intentionally put out to the world may not match what is truly our identity. And so I thought that was interesting. And that's something that could go both ways. Like if we're learning about others through a DE&I lens, we should keep that in mind, that not to judge them. And just, it's getting me a little choked up, just to listen with an open mind, and also to think about how that affects how we learn about other people, because we may be keeping things under wraps or not feel that trust that we can share it. So I thought that was interesting.
Excellent.
And I had one more, which I maybe not as like as deep or whatever, but somebody said they held their thing in a different way, and I was like, oh, how does that change the meeting if I put it a landscape? And I was like, oh, it looks like they're moving.
Right,
And
right,
are they moving
wow.
forwards or are they moving backwards? And is
Wow.
it the right way? Like,
Wow.
is that the way we want it to be be? We should be
Wow.
moving forwards, but where are we really right now? And is
Woo!
that the way we want to make it happen? So, thanks.
Thank you. That's deep too.
That is awesome.
You wrote deep earlier. That was deep.
Yes.
All right. Excellent.
Thank you.
Excellent. All right. Anybody in? Oh, come on, Patrice.
I'll go. Scoot over this way.
Come on, but right in front of the camera.
Okay.
She like,
Okay.
So what I find is like, even
help
looking
again? Like, I'll hold
yeah,
on. You
even
hold it.
looking around, like, it's not until I look on the screen and look at the art that I can actually see. I don't know if anybody else thinks that, but okay, so for mine, being that today is International Women's Day,
Ooh, forgot that.
I was looking at this, mainly this first one and the second one, and it made me think of how all the stories that I've learned over time through like books and different research about different cultures and mainly different women, and different stories about women, and how some have had to rise up and take more I don't know, not more dominant roles, but had to take on more responsibility and literally help pave the way for others. So like in this one, when I first did it, it was kind of just like these smaller cylindrical shapes, but the second time it hid some colors behind the others or made some a little shorter. And so to me, it kind of looks like, the things that we're doing today are helping to pave the way for others that might not want to step out and feel as confident to say things or like take action, but you have these others that are around you that create that space and create that path for those to step out in front. So providing like that support in that community. So that's that one, and I think that's this one too. Yeah.
Outstanding.
Outstanding. Be forward, be willingness to come forward. That's really deep. You guys are deep. All right. Who wants to do online? We'll take a couple more in the essence of time. We might go 1 minute or 2 minute over, but anyone else online want to share? All right. How about in the class? Anybody in here want to share? Oh, Roberta, come on down. I'll help you if you want to bring them both. Okay.
So this is the first one that I did, and I was trying to think about like what all of this stuff meant. One thing came to mind when we were thinking about Black History Month is the thing that kept jumping in my head is that Black history is everyone's history, and so like that line that just keeps going across like that. And then the other thing that I was thinking is that on this side there's that delineation of that real heavy red there. It's kind of muted and it's not very vibrant. And then on the other side of it, there's so much more color. And to me, it kind of feels like, where we started and then it's kind of muted and there's not a lot of, there's not a lot of diversity on this side, and then you get to the other side and there's just a lot more. But you can see that this side is much bigger, so than that side.
Nice.
So
Okay.
that's that one.
Nice.
And then the second one, I was thinking about this, and it was unintentional, but the colors that are on here are the ones of the Ukrainian flag.
Oh.
So I wasn't really thinking about that, but what was interesting to me is that, I don't think you can see it there, but there's like, I put a lot of lines in here.
We can see them.
Yeah, and so I was thinking about behind the fences. And the thing that also struck with me about the fences is that there's a really cool cartoon that's probably one of the best examples of the difference between equity and equality. And when Michelle and I were doing a presentation, she said, well, how do we get rid of systemic oppression? And we have to keep down the fence. So I was thinking about that, the fence that kind of is in front of all of us. Yeah.
Nice. Wow. Who would have known, right? Dragging down colors. Who would have known? All right, we have time probably for one last one. Will it be online or in person? Anybody?
I could say something about
Okay.
my dots. I don't know if you can see, but there's swirls.
We can
Yeah,
see them, Joy.
And I wasn't thinking about it. I was just using what I had, but and the swirls are in different colors. And for me, I can sort of make meaning of it by there's a forward thrust, but they're swirls. So they go backwards and then forward and then backwards and forward. And all the colors are mixed. And I was thinking about, the connections between and among people. And then this forward and backward progression.
Wow. Wow. Thank you. Yes, absolutely. Forward and backward. It's like everyone's thinking of like titles of their pieces, like forward and backward, or fences, mending fences, or bringing down fences. I did say one more, but I thought I saw you move. Did I see you move, Tanisha?
Oh, come on,
I
Tanisha.
I saw you move.
Come on, Tanisha. Because I know you want to do this too.
I do.
And I hope that anyone that came today, I hope that you find spaces to continue this conversation and do this activity with others. This is important to continue this.
Wow, that's really not great on the screen.
Wow.
Wow.
That would, oh, wow.
I would say I did 2 layers on each of these. And the first layer, there was a lot of white space, and I was debating about whether or not I wanted to fill that in. And that makes me think about just during the times that we're going through right now, and people just wanting to, do something to fill in maybe their time or their energy or focus on something like this, maybe that's more relaxing, than looking at the news sometimes, which can be really depressing. So I just felt like it was kind of like, it started reminding me of like having a war. So I kind of wanted to get rid of the white space on the canvas. And as I'm looking at it more, the second layer, I added more black dollars. And those stand out. They kind of seem like, I don't know, like these overseen figures to me. So I don't know, maybe that's something, there's like wise men or something.
Yeah. You have 3 dominant ones in each one of your pictures, and they're really just beautiful and prominent.
Okay. What about this one?
It's like women with black hair facing the opposite direction.
Yeah.
So for the black canvas, I went the opposite direction. So I did one swipe down in the opposite direction to make it kind of go in reverse. So it's 3 black figures at the top here, and then when you switch it, it's like the till and the
Wow. Wow. You won't know which way to hang it.
Well, yeah, it could be both.
It could be both. So Monday, week 1 through 2, week 3 through 4.
That's resourcing.
Awesome. Yeah, really. Excellent. Excellent. All right. Well, congratulations to everybody. Everyone that wanted to present did, and I hope that everyone that wanted to participate did. So, congratulations to everybody. We thought that this would have been a really nice, sort of, again, a way to express yourself. We are really happy to have the music to kind of feel and, viscerally have that connection. So like we said, it doesn't take a lot to make this happen. Maybe you can do it in your churches or in your other community groups with family. Anywhere there's more than one person, you can get them together and start doing this kind of activity. It's amazing how when you're not focused on diversity, equity, inclusion, and do something like this, how you are able to have this conversation. But if I said, let's sit down and talk about it, people would have been like, oh, I don't have much to say. But then you do something like this and you have a lot to say.
And guess what else? I don't have to look at you in the eye and talk about things really difficult.
Exactly.
We have this product that we can focus on and talk about something really important by focusing on a tangible object, which makes it safer. And then it can help us then look at each other in the eye and have that conversation.
That's right. So when you're in your faculty meetings, professional staff meetings, student meetings, maybe you could have something like this happen. All right. So, all right, everybody be safe. Thank you for joining us today. We'll see you on our next Board Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Tuesday topic. Bye.
Thank you.